This video is the original story of the blogger, combined with epic test drama. Take you 36 minutes. Immersion. Experience the life history of medieval European knights. Process. Act 1 Birth. A clear and windless morning. You open your eyes. The sun shines on my face. Birds singing and flowers. A lady in a long dress hugs you gently. When you look with curious eyes, when looking at this unfamiliar world, a rough, bearded face came closer, rubbed your nose with a bruised cheek, made you cry inexplicably. Pretty soon, you were calmed down by your mother's comfort. The couple was surrounded by several servants. Happy to talk. Let's call him William, the bearded man said. Son of William, William Jr., although I still don't understand this unfamiliar language, but your gut tells you what he means. You suddenly laughed, grabbing my father's beard. William Jr., that's your name, although it is not official yet. Slave illegitimate child, orphans and even animals, experienced countless ups and downs. You were finally born into an ancient and glorious man. In the Jew family, you are well taken care of. The nanny is the wife of the town's leading blacksmith. Wet nurse. The local rich are carefully selected by the housekeeper. Your mother-ma benefits from postpartum frailty. But I often miss you. I'm always worried that they don't take good care of me. I came to breastfeed myself. Father comes less, because he was always summoned to the capital. Advice for the beloved king. Pretty soon, you have the same big event in your life. Baptism. You are the center of attention on this day. The bearded man in the black robe, gesticulating up and down on you. Except for the classroom gown and the shaved top of his head, he was a burly knight like your father. Not much difference. It looks even better than many of them. Be strong. Of course, when facing you, he's so kind. Apply God's love to you. He squinted, smiling and saying to you in Latin, my child, William's son William, undisguised baptism. You are as pure as day, washed away all sins. Bearded Father John smears oil on your forehead. You don't have to worry about the seepage washing off, because they've already put an oil cap on you. This is the first time you meet your godfather and godmother. They cannot be absent from your birth baptism. It's a religious practice. You have two godfathers and a godmother. One of the godfathers was a northern baron, your father's comrade. The other was the second son of the count, the king's magistrate. Your godmother is your father's cousin. He married the most prestigious ruler in the kingdom. Handsome, you could have had more. Many godparents and godmothers. Many nobles do this for their beloved son and Ro, but the nobles of these three, enough to bring great honor to your family. The most important thing is, you like their expressions. I can tell they love you. Second only to your parents. Godparents give you many gifts. There are gold and silver jewelry, cloth of silk and linen, and some fine leather. The two godfathers even promised, if they are selfless in their later years, you will acquire part of their territory. Of course your favorite, or the foals given by the baron. You smile at him. He calls out to you. You were finally officially named William. Many children will be named after their godfather, rather than the father. It just so happens that one of your godfathers is also named William. You have some doubts, even if you are not smart enough, but still found. There seem to be many men named William around. For many years to come, you live happily, running on the grass outside the castle, playing cricket with the children of the butler and the craftsman. The ball flips together. I play civ when I don't want to move. To play backgammon, father will occasionally let you ride on the back of the little black horse, familiar with the feeling of galloping. You enjoy spending time with him, looking forward to running with him in the wilderness soon. The second act is the same. Time flies. The 7-year-old's name day is coming soon. Your carefree child. This year will bring the first challenge. You will leave your parents to a higher nobleman. Learn fencing, fight hunt, horseback riding, etc. Knight skills. That's right, you're going to be a clerk. This is your first lesson on the path to chivalry. Luckily, you were sent to the godfather's father, in the castle of the noble count. His eldest son, Sir Richard, was the first in the kingdom. Warrior number 2, once led the king's army to win more with less, received endless glory, but you didn't get his guidance as you wished. because the first thing you have to do is serving tea and water to the ladies in the castle. Clean the castle. Clean up the yard. Of course, yeah. These elegant rich people will never be stingy. The aristocratic etiquette, eloquence, sing and play, skills such as dance and ambiguity are taught to you, as long as you ask for advice humbly. When you can restrain yourself, the wildness that rolls in the grass all day, combat lessons will naturally follow. Accessories: long hair, shield, weapons such as bows and arrows are compulsory courses for you. At least it is essential, because of each of the aforementioned weapons needs to be skilled on the horse. Of course, yeah, here you can just use wooden practice keys. Training fighting, because you're still a rusty little boy. Hunting lessons also excite you, often before crumbling. Father never allowed you to enter the spirit world, and now in the custody of hunters and bamboo shooters, you can go into the forest with bamboo shoots and dogs, catch the hare, wild animals such as wild boar and deer. You must also follow. Nobles participate in religious activities large and small. Daily prayer, proclamation, and regular worship cannot be absent. Teach. The room will tell you the legends of the Bible, religious paintings in churches, and those basic Christian morals. Only, compared to this strict priest, you miss your hometown more. Benevolent priest Kui. John, of course, your favorite. It's the heroic legends of those ancient times. Charlemagne's paladin, the legend of King Arthur, Caesar and Alexander, all the great people you dream of. In addition to that, there are also electives. It's definitely beneficial for the smart you. Let the sheriff and knight who served you tell you. He once trained a well-trained, plump-winged falcon to a beautiful lady and succeeded in winning his heart. I'm sure you'll be doing the same in a few years. Teenagers are always full of ambition. When you hear the news of your father's triumphant return, joy and excitement make you overly impulsive. You're too aggressive in a wooden sword fight. I broke 2 teeth when I fell. Luckily they're just baby teeth. It'll grow back. But your other adventure. But it has made you suffer for a lifetime. The most severe punishment. Go to the mountain alone to challenge the so-called trolls. When he finally got lost and almost came back before dark, he asked the attendant, with the broom used by the monks to sweep the floor, "Spank your butt open." After recovery, you were locked up for another 7 days. You missed your father's triumphant return, but learned the dangers of overreaching. Learning is just a small part of what you consider a career. The practical component is lower. Most of the time, what you have to do is follow the instructions of the mentors. Feeding the horses, clean up the horse, maintain weapons and armor, and dress for the life of a good knight. Of course, yeah, they only do it when they're at home. When they go on an expedition or a long journey, only the actual attendants are qualified to follow. You are clearly not qualified enough. Act 3: The Way Out sharp at 14. Sir Richard acknowledges your progress, especially your hard work and humility after that punishment. Progress in exchange. Also became a knight's attendant. You can finally wear it. The true sword won by the bishop here. You can even have your own armor. You'll follow Sir Richard for a long time. Keep training and fighting, odd numbers and other necessary skills, and follow him into battle when necessary. Responsible for transporting his armor and weapons, and serve him to wear them before the war. Of course, it depends on your luck. Usually more of your work is still training, learning to care for horses, maintain armor, etc. Now you are an adult. Work undertaken. It is far more difficult than the same period. Every morning, you must be in the horse early, combing war horses. When it's hot, you have to bathe the horses. The feed and water for the horses will also be provided by you, solely responsible. Then you have to take care of bamboo shoots and hounds. After doing all the dirty work, slightly familiar, you have to serve again. Sir Richard, who has just woken up, get up if the castle has guests. You are the one receiving. Also have to manage the guests' horses and finances. Before dinner, you are responsible for blowing the horn to remind everyone after dinner. You need to stand behind the nobles, help cut food, deliver cutlery, etc. Late at night except for you. If you check the horse, you will hunt bamboo shoots, hound house, and serve the owner to sleep outside. We must also check the safety of the entire castle. To save. So you are the first, the one who slept the latest. Sometimes in the dead of night, you start to miss the ease before the age of 7. Happy time. Of course, discrimination. The desire for honor has diluted these thoughts a lot. You're no longer playful. And focus on required courses to become a knight. Your official training program at this time is fencing, curious swimming, diving range weapon shooting, climbing lance competition, and wrestling and jumping and poetry and dancing and so on. These are all to become a regular knight. Items that must be mastered. You should be able to use it when you're wearing armor. Of course, the popular Knight 700 million is the skill you value most. They include horseback riding, gun and sword, swimming, poetry, music, chess. You're very lucky, uncle. There are several knowledgeable teachers in the Lord's castle. The teachers teach you and the others are from Latin, French, German, Spanish, Lombardy, Norman and other languages. Mathematics is taught from time to time. Geometry, astrogeography, grammar, rhetoric, literary poetry, courses in logic, etc. Some of them interest you. Maybe with more diligence, you can become a great scholar. But adolescent nature makes you more eager for glory, longing to fight, desire to become a true knight. Because of this, maybe that's what happened in history. One less famous astronomer, or a writer or a poet. But if it hadn't been for Sir Richard's bravery that day, perhaps there will be one less knight in history. It was your first expedition with your master, to a strange country across the sea. The enemy in ambush after you crossed the river. People quickly gathered around. Sir Richard led an outnumbered vanguard. You can only fight to the death with your back on the river. The enemy is bound to win. I didn't expect you to last that long. When you protect your master's war horse, when cut to the ground, Sir Richard, the valiant square knight, King Chindian's forward command, lead the rest. One last break in your direction. Many of them fell, but killed more enemies. Looking at the fewer and fewer companions beside me, you try to stand up and join the fight. Perhaps sacrifice to protect him will be your last honor, but you didn't get it. The knights of the main army have long since left the plain. The shoals inside and outside force the river crossing, outflank the enemy. The horn of this matter howls in the wind. The sound of hooves is deafening. 50 meters, 30 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters, 1 meter, the enemy was routed. You were also rescued. I have not been able to prove that I am a brave soldier, but was recognized by everyone as a competent attendant. The only thing that makes your heart hurt, the dark horse you grew up with didn't enjoy his old age, but he sacrificed his sword on the first battlefield. 4th female sword unsheathed. Luckily your sword wound wasn't deep. It healed soon after. He didn't stop you from growing into a strong aristocrat. Youth, I didn't make you like your father too soon. Get a hideous scarred face. Although you do not reject this trace of glory, even some yearning. Did you know that many years ago, 15 to 25-year-old attendants may be promoted to knight, but now most of the attendants are named at the age of 21. Only in the future will you be eligible to become a knight, although you have experienced a few big and small battles, and fulfilled himself perfectly as a servant. From the responsibilities of, I went through that desperate situation, bearing the scars of glory on his shoulders, but you didn't get beyond the service. Attacks from within our capabilities, so it's no surprise. You will undoubtedly be canonized for discrimination at the age of 21. But this exception was canonized in advance, presumably not for you. Finally, after years of hard training and hard service, you have ushered in your 21-year-old destiny day. That's your knight's ceremony. They celebrate religious festivals, occasions such as weddings or celebrations, or on the eve of a battle, or even a sword ceremony when you go to war. But your relatives, we are all willing to bear the sword for you on name day. Of course you have no opinion. The sun was shining brightly that day, cast into your face through the castle windows, although I have bathed and changed my clothes, but the clothes on your back are quickly soaked with sweat. According to convention, you're wearing a white doublet, jacket, red robe. The heat is magnified infinitely, but you are unmoved. Such a ceremony, It is usually held during the warm season when the sun is shining. According to custom, you have transferred your weapons and armor one night in advance, placed on the altar, and fought all night to protect, pray, confess, and plan the next chivalry. Bishop for your weapon and armor to help you win. And then you take the oath. I will become a brave and loyal knight with a promising future. Punish evil and promote good. To safeguard the faith and subjugation. Fight to the last drop of blood. That's probably what you said at the time. Sir Richard, put spurs on your boots and help you put on your armor. This is also the reward for your years of wearing armor for him. His father, the noble count, wear the sword of a knight for you. Then he drew his sword. Tap on your shoulder. Your wound hurts slightly, but now the pain makes you even more happy, more determined. I am even more proud of this moment. The end of the ceremony. You trot and jump on the horse. It turned out to be a lance from the ground. Sing the battle song. Galloping forward. He is still a dark horse, still from the same pasture as the old one. Now he will carry a brave knight. Replace the lost horse. Follow the master in pursuit of glory, one at a time, to full 3 targets and armor. There were cheers from the crowd. No one will doubt. In the near future, glory will be yours, Sir William, especially the slightly intelligent girl, Sir Richard's youngest daughter, as bright as moonlight, Miss Constance. He really likes the one you gave him last year. Nice bamboo shoots, as his mother did to his father. Act 5, tie the knot. You, after canonization, has been active in this era of war. Whether it is king versus neighbor, the battle for the throne initiated by the United States, or the war against the righteous for the Holy Land, you have performed admirably. You fought side by side with your former master. Fight side by side with earls and dukes. Fight side by side with the king. They trust you, willing to entrust you with difficult tasks, and you always live up to expectations. In a war with fewer enemies and more enemies, you led a pair of cavalry and dealt a fatal blow to the enemy. You even captured the king of an enemy country. After this battle, you have been granted your own waiver, became a renunciation knight. This year, I have sought the consent of both parents, and to the relatives and friends around. Colleagues announced it 3 times later. Also, ready to marry the invading Miss Constance. You come to church, declaring his will to the parish priest. You say to this noble lady, I will marry you. He replied that you would be my husband. This mutual vow represents your engagement. You gave him a ring. He gave you his headband. You asked to exchange gifts as a vow of love. After that, every time you go out on horseback, we'll tie this headband around their shoulders. It is also your loyalty to love. Wedding day. You come out dressed up. The bride wore a flawless white linen shirt, wrapped in crimson silk, covered mink robe, neckline and cuffs inlaid with gold rims. Looks elegant and gorgeous. There is also a piece of gold thread outside the robe, a blue silk coat embellished with patterns. Its belt is adorned with rubies and sapphires. Her feet were adorned with elaborate patterns in Spain, Cordoba pointed leather shoes. The bride was veiled, and he wears a jeweled crown. Before entering the room, he was wearing a fuchsia cloak, windproof and cold, and you're wearing a white wool shirt. Cover, mink silk robe decorated with birds and animals, but the hem of the robe is split. The length is also shorter than the ladies. For horse riding, your cloak is made of fur. It's set with precious stones. The shoes are brown leather boots. Over your head, also wearing a gorgeous jeweled crown, complement the bride. The melodious moon in the middle of the church. Friends and family were all dressed up. There were poets who sang songs of love. Jump stop. You and the bride are surrounded by guests. Came to the church. The atmosphere under the porch is gradually solemn. The priest asks you a question in the presence of the crowd. Are you old enough to get married? Are you close relatives forbidden by the church? Within the scope of intermarriage, did your parents agree to this marriage? The marriage is not high. Has it been posted 3 times? Does anyone object to your marriage? Is your witness present? The answer is naturally satisfactory. All for you. He pointed out that God would come from heaven, witness your wedding. Then you pray together under his guidance. Sir Richard stepped forward. Bring your daughter to your side. You take off your gloves, gently hold his palm. and put a wedding ring. Put on the index and middle fingers of the bride's left hand and turn. Finally put him on the lady's ring finger. You speak of the Holy Father. In the name of the Son and the Holy Spirit, you and I are united by this ring. Devout by our bodies. Dedicate with all your wealth. You hold the bride. Walk through the church lobby under the gaze of relatives and friends. Kneel in the middle. Father, in the name of God, may you grow old together. Respect each other. You rise up and come to the altar to perform the Mesa ceremony, and then you consecrate with candles, donate wealth to the Holy Church, and kneel down again to receive the blessing. To pray, for young knights will unfold a piece of jousting over your heads, chanting. You go to the chapel, humbly accept the priest's 3 kisses, and convey the kiss to the bride. In the end, you are all blessed. Hugging in church, kiss, when yen is goin' plain in your father's castle. The castle hall was decorated with colorful tapestries, rose petals scattered on the ground. The table was covered with a tablecloth. Each guest has their own restaurant, and clothes, knives and spoons as cutlery, many beautifully shaped wine cans, kettle seasoning bottle, etc. Name. Decorate the dining table very ornately. The male and female guests were cross-seated, and those most distinguished guests are with you and your parents at the same table. The dishes of the wedding banquet are mainly meat, beef, lamb, and celery. Fish are readily available. The most respected nature is those hunting, the resulting venison, boar hair, mallard duck, etc. The cooking method is usually roasted. The most common seasonings are cloves and garlic. Wine spectrum against honey. Welcome to the guests. The wine is produced in Anjou and Burgundy. Local beer and cider. There's a supply. The guests were mostly brave knights. They have a big appetite, so much so that the party may last more than 5 hours, even 10 hours. Therefore, proper recreational activities are also essential. The band played throughout. There's an orchestra as background music. There are also poems or theater companies that tell stories. Performing under the crowd, the party reached a climax. Many people started dancing in the hall. After a few glasses of wine, you can't help crowding your bride. Join the dance moves of the crowd. On this day, in this ancient castle, the joy never seems to go away. When night falls, the crowd gradually left, and you and your new wife finally ended this tiring and happy day. Lying on the bed blessed by the priest, prepare for the arrival of a new life. The 6th peak turning. You and your wife are happily married. Unlike many marriages arranged by parents, you met and fell in love in the Count's castle. From the right family, whether it's the other person's parents or anyone else, I will offer my sincere wishes for you. You have 2 children. The eldest daughter's name is Mary, same name as your mother. The youngest son's name is Richard. It was taken from his maternal grandfather, the name of a great knight. Just this year, he was in the middle of a battle, died heroically to save the king. And your father also suffered heavy losses in that battle. Lower limb paralysis, childhood winter. Your mother and the Lord have summoned. Left father, dear, and you, although your parents only have you as their offspring, but you are their lifelong pride. It was a year full of tragedies. The revered king, be brave. The virtues of piety and humility also left the subjects who loved him. But Wang Chu is still on his way to the east, too late to see his father off. Just after the king's funeral, the 2nd prince immediately led his troops into the royal city. He imprisoned nobles loyal to Wang Chu, killed those who dared to resist, including the head of your wife's family, the admirable old earl, for protecting his wife, alone against a dozen heavily armed soldiers. You wanted to fight to the death, but I remembered the consequences of overreaching. Looking at the woman you love so much, they dropped their weapons. The whole kingdom is in chaos. The submissive nobles joined the usurpers. Together, deprived those who dared to resist the castle and collar. Ground. You and your wife are under house arrest in the towers of the royal city, anxiously waiting for news from my father. The final bad news came first. Wang Chu died in the Holy Land. Now, the usurper has been lawfully granted the throne. Because of your compromise, they didn't kill you, didn't kill your father, but you and your beloved wife. and beloved father. Separated, you were exiled abroad. The wife goes with your children. Under house arrest in the palace. Be monitored and controlled at all times. You who have lost your wealth, status, and loved ones. Wandering alone in a strange southern country. Yellow shall not last all day. Disheartened. Money and wine in exchange for the tight stuff. Wandering aimlessly on dirty streets. You who spent all your money. I wanted to return to the arms of the Lord in Rome. But the voices of your loved ones will never be forgotten. You make up your mind. Heart someday must go back to hometown. In this brand new country, the mercenary group has offered you an olive branch. They take in poor citizens, bankrupt farmers, experienced veteran, or able-bodied absenteeism, and a battle-hardened knight like you. Naturally, it is the focus of their recruitment. Mercenary commander, generously lend you a set of heavy cavalry equipment. The condition is that it will be drawn in future compensation, with half the interest. You have to agree to such a condition, because of you at this moment, except for the accessory that represents knighthood. Nothing left. Mercenary battle. It's very different from the wars you're familiar with. Sometimes, you just have to trot with your mates. Turn back before you make an enemy. Sometimes, and you'll be watching from the sidelines. Only wait for the head of the team to bargain with the employer. The King dynasty was dispatched after the additional fee. More often, your comrades will do something. Burning and looting robbers. Although you have been in past wars, it's not that I haven't participated in such an operation. But these mercenaries, more mundane, more thorough, more determined. You even heard. A mercenary group actually robbed the sacred church. Killed everyone in the church, including priests, and pay the church a bill. Fortunately, your mercenary group has never done such a thing. Otherwise, even if there is no way out, you can't continue. Stay in an army like this, year after year, day after day. You went from a noble knight seeking honor, invisible heir, became a complete mercenary, fellow food. Those bad habits gradually erode your integrity. Devout heart, even if you still don't kill at will. Innocent civilians, but take more from them. Property. There is not much psychological burden for you anymore. Time as a mercenary. It has exceeded the time to be a knight. You have become a rich and powerful person. You command a unit of the mercenary regiment, own a small castle, and Florence, and luxury residences in cities such as China. You have an affiliated estate in northern Italy. That's after you helped the Pope defeat his enemies, land given by Zhongzhuo. And of course, in the years that followed, you have been the enemy of the Pope again. Fight your old employer. If you are willing to give up everything in the past, and these days don't seem so bad. Act 7, Soldier Dusk. It was a quiet year. No war. World peace. You are 45 years old this year. This also means that, as a mercenary commander, not much business to do. However, with your current wealth, even if we don't do it together, comfortable enough to die. But you're a man who has been busy since you were young. Other people's men are idle. When you eat, drink, and gamble all day, you brought your cavalry. I practiced every now and then. You are like the day of the archery ceremony. Lance on the back on the moon. Charge in the direction of the humanoid target. Although a wealth of experience still welcomes you. Cheers, but only you can feel it. The power in my hands is gradually being lost. That energy is no longer there. You will hide your loneliness well. Just keep a straight face in front of everyone. Maintain your majestic image. Horseshoe Mountain in the distance attracts everyone's attention. A rider brings news from afar. The king is dead. That's right, the sudden death of your beloved old earl. King registered by usurper. Finally failed to receive God's blessing. Left before the age of 40. You are stunned. Countless pictures are playing back quickly in my mind. The hard training of youth. Dear friends and relatives, battles big and small. The first encounter with a lover. Those delightful banquets and dances. You finally decided to give up everything here. All wealth and status. Sell the castle and manor. Let the deputy take over the mercenary group. You only brought 5 trusted attendants. All the way north. On the road back home. Of course only you know. One of them is your illegitimate child. You cross the valley. Over the wilderness. Across the channel. Out of the forest, finally back to the land where you were born and raised. On the high slope outside the castle, an old man sits on an old chair and looks out into the distance. His legs are paralyzed, decline in power. The scars on my face are telling others, this was once a brave knight. You at least look at him closely and ask, what are you doing here? I call the Lord, and my child, he hasn't come back yet. Your father replied. You jump off the horse, kneeling on one knee in front of him. Put your face in front of him, so he can see your face. With you, your delirious father didn't recognize you after all, just laughed softly. After coughing a few times, he stopped breathing. You and your entourage returned to the castle with your father. This place is no longer glorious. Only the two most loyal old servants. People haven't left yet. A girl with clear eyes, seeing strange visitors. He ran into the depths of the castle in a panic, but it didn't take long. He was born to hide behind his mother's back, appeared in front of you again. No additional words, only at dusk. Gorgeous tapestries in the castle, petals all over the floor, excited guests, and the warm candlelight reappears before your eyes. Weekend, the end of the song. The next decade, you had a great time. The years of war have finally come to an end. Those nobles who were persecuted by the immortal king, there are many like you, received original property and status. Your son has finally completed his acceptance. The ceremony became a night. 2 children in your presence completed their marriages separately. Every morning, it will wake you up from your dreams. After you become simple jade in the jade basin, pray with your wife for those who have passed away. Go or pray for loved ones who are still around. Prayer is over. You usually do it in the chapel in the castle. Sam then enjoyed breakfast with his family. Since you came back, let all the servants and servants start. People eat at the same table as you. I used to sound the horn for lunch and dinner. The wife is a little confused about your actions, but also gladly accept your ideas. During the day you sometimes discuss with my housekeeper small and large affairs in castles and territories, sometimes to the servants in the castle, guidance from the young family of the attendants. Sometimes you also enjoy going to the kitchen. Watch the cook stew or roast meat. Lunch is the main meal. Appears to be particularly important, except for fruit, cottage cheese, except for shortbread and other foods. Everything will prepare 2 or 3 dishes. Of course, wine is also essential. Dinner is a bit more simple, mainly bread, cheese, soups, and wine. You often play chess or go for walks with your wife to make up for more than a decade of separation. Occasionally beggars or poor people beg in front of the castle. You always open the purse generously. We even entertain them in for a feast. Your relatives and friends have families mostly in royal power. Decay in the process of replacement. Therefore, there are not many visitors. 2 will also be at dinner or in front of the fireplace. For the children and young people in the castle, tell stories from afar. Some of it was real. Some are in taverns in distant lands. The legends dictated by the travelers. You are no longer enthusiastic about conquest and glory, but often lost in thought in the dead of night, remembering the images of the past. If everything goes according to plan, nothing has changed. So what happens now? What you don't know is, in this era where you live, in what future generations will call the Middle Ages, a life made up of accidents is the norm. 10 years passed quickly. This morning, it was Zhao Li who came to wake you up, and you weren't able to stretch as usual. Cheer up. Welcome to a new day. You couldn't get up. With a faint figure, tell the attendants to call the priest. Yes, it's for you. Father John, who was baptized. Crows chirping outside the window. Friends and family gather around you. The priest is in a guide for Genesis children with lanterns. Come down, the bearded and strong priest. Now my temples are white. The body is also hooked up a lot, but his presence makes you feel at ease. He puts his ear in front of you. Hear your confession. He responded with forgiveness in a kind tone. Finally, you ask the priest for Eucharist. Who people round the bed? Candles and linen. The priest took out the crucifix. The pressed Eucharist is handed to you. Everybody put their hands together. Pray for you. Then comes the ritual of negative seepage. The priest first smears the oil on your chest, then between the shoulders, This means that in your thoughts and actions, abandon the temptation of the devil. And then the top. This means that your soul has been promised to Christ. And finally, the feet. You realize you're in trouble. So put your hand in the heart hole. Take the time to pray to the Virgin and the saints. On the table by the bed, there was a jar and a bowl. Provide you with water. A classroom holds a statue of Jesus. Make your prayers and repentance better. Relatives move closer to you. Light a fire to keep you warm. It is also convenient for the rot to burn off. The priest used to apply oily wool balls. The lute in the fire represents purgatory, my hellfire. After completing the ceremony, you bring your loved ones forward. First, the beloved wife, looking back on the happy times of the two of them in my mind, and confide in him with cautious strength. Then son and daughter, bless them in the name of God, and confess to them they missed out on their lives, the most important moments. You replaced your squire, the boy who followed you all the way from Italy. You didn't have time to say the last word to him. The boy meets your son's eyes full of confusion and doubt. Everything returns to peace. Final moment. Your wife will light a candle, placed in your hands. The candle symbolizes the soul and life. Candlelight symbolizes mystery. You feel as if the soul starts to leave the body from the feet and put it back on the head. From the last breath, finally, your face loses its color. The priest pronounces your official death. Your children embrace and abandon each other. Your wife is crying. William's son William, a knight with many fates, died.